Hi friends, welcome to my channel, and this is Windows Server 29 training tutorial, and this is number 22nd video in this series. And today in this video I'm going to show you how to enable and configure Hyper-V replication on Windows Server 2019. So basically Hyper-V replication is going to be enabled for virtual machines. So as you can see from this screen, you have a primary site where you have a one Hyper-V host. On that Hyper-V host there was few virtual machine running on it. So for the fault tolerance uh, position, or for the high availability, you can enable the Hyper-V replication. So the virtual machines are going to be synced to other Hyper-V host in the same site, or other Hyper-V host in a replication site which is somewhere placed in DR. So basically by using Hyper-V replication, you can replicate your virtual machines across the multiple hosts. So if the primary host goes fail, you can recover those machine on secondary host. So for example, the host having some hardware issue, or host having some network issues, it can be anything. So you can recover those machines and install those machine on your replica site, or your replica Hyper-V server. So this is going to provide you high availability for virtual machine if your primary source or your primary site going to be down. So basically there was you can say two type of Hyper-V failover in Hyper-V replication. The first one is planned failover, and second one is unplanned failover. So basically in planned failover, just assume you have some maintenance on your primary site and you want to shut down this Hyper-V host, and you want to move those virtual machine load to any other Hyper-V host or the other site. So what you can do, you can just right click and do the planned failover. So the virtual machine is going to be run on second side, and at this machine you can take down the physical server, shut down, or you can do the maintenance activity, whatever site, like you have any like electricity outage, or you have any network outage or server outage, you can do those things. And once the planned failover is done, you can revert those virtual machines from secondary host to primary host, and you can run all your virtual machine load from your primary site. And the second type is going to be unplanned. So unplanned, like you have any outage with the server, and server went down, and you are not be able to recover those Hyper-V hosts to run those virtual machines. So what you can do, you can go ahead and you can start those virtual machine on your replica site. So the replica Hyper-V server is going to run your all the virtual machine load. So now we are going to configure and see how we can do the configure the Hyper-V replication, and how we can do the planned failover and unplanned failover. So we are going to see all those things. So let's get in. So this is my infrastructure which I am going to use in this demo. So the first machine is Win2K19 DC01, which is my Active Directory and DNS server. You can see my domain name is victorinfosol.local, and IP address for DC is 192.168.0.201. So let's go. So you can see Active Directory and DNS role is running on this machine. If I go to local server, you can see here Win2K19 DC01 victorinfosol.local, and this is my IP address of my domain controller. So this is my domain controller, and this is the first Hyper-V server which we have configured in our last video, where we have done the Hyper-V installation and configuration. So this machine is Win2K19 HV01, and this is going to work as a source Hyper-V server, where we are going to have a virtual machine. So this is joined in my domain victorinfosol.com, 32 gig of RAM, and this is IP address of my source Hyper-V server. So you can see here. So this is my Win2K19 HV01, and this is my primary Hyper-V host, which is source Hyper-V host. So if I go here, Hyper-V manager, I have two virtual machine running on this. So I'm going to start both the virtual machine, Win2K16 and Win2K19. So both are virtual machine and both are joined in my domain. So you can see here both are now booting. So if I go to Active Directory, and Active Directory users and computers. You can see under my domain I have server OU here and all the machines are there, so this is good. And you can see I'm able to log into both the virtual machine now. So VM admin, I'm going to hit my password and then enter. So these two virtual machines are running on my source Hyper-V host, which is Win2K 19 HV01. And now I'm going to configure this machine. So this is going to be our replica server. So this is our HV01 is our primary host and HV02 is our replica server. So this is the machine which I'm going to configure now. So you can see if I go to HV02, this is a brand new machine. I have not configured anything on this machine, so I have just installed this and logged into this machine. So let's configure it. So we have to configure the name, IP address, and join this machine in domain, and then install Hyper-V role also. So I'm going to configure this machine first. So I'm going to type here my IP address. So it's going to be 192.168.0.203 and gateway is 192.168.0.1 and the preferred DNS 201 and the alternative DNS is my router address to get the internet. So now we are good to go ahead and join this machine in domain. So I'm going to change the computer name Win2K19 HV02 and I'm going to put my domain name victorinfosol.local, hit enter, and then we need to put the credential here. So administrator and password for this account. So welcome to the victorinfosol.local domain. So this is good. So the machine is joined in domain and now I'm going to restart to take the effect of domain join. So now if I go to my Active Directory, I can see this machine is joined here. So I'm going to remove this machine in correct OU. So I'm going to select India, then server. So I'm going to put my all servers here. So now we have HV01 and HV02, both machines are here. So this is good. Now this is booted, so I am going to hit Ctrl+Del. I'm going to log in with the same account, so which is Hyper-V admin and password for my Hyper-V admin account. And now we are good and we can go ahead and install a role which is Hyper-V server on this machine, and once the Hyper-V installation is done we can go ahead and configure the Hyper-V replication. So let's verify. So you can see this machine is now joined in my domain victorinfosol.local. So this is good and I'm going to install a Hyper-V. So manage, add role and features. So click next and role based installation, and this is my server HV02. So click next and I'm going to select the Hyper-V role here. So you have to make sure you have enabled the Hyper-V Intel VT technology to the server which you are installing a Hyper-V role. So we did the Hyper-V installation in the last video, so you can refer to that video also if you want to. This is going to be same. So Hyper-V management tool, PowerShell and GUI. So add these features and now click next, and from the feature skip it, and Hyper-V, this is what Hyper-V is. It's going to say I'm going to leave everything default, post the installation done. I'm going to configure these options. So I'm going to restart the server automatically. So Hyper-V require reboot this machine. So I'm going to click on install, and now this machine is going to be installed for the Hyper-V role, and then it's going to reboot automatically twice. So Hyper-V required 2 reboots during the installation, so it's automatically going to take care of it, and we are going to get the login screen post the installation is done. So this is going to take about 1 minute to get the installation done and boot again, and since this is a virtual machine it's not going to take longer time. So almost done. It's going to reboot now sooner. So So now you can say its machine is getting reboot. So now it's booting up. Since I said it's required 2 reboots, so it's going to reboot one more time. So working on feature. Now it's about to reboot again. Here we go. Now it's shutting down, and this is going to be a final reboot. After this reboot, we are able to get in to the server, and we'll configure the Hyper-V first, and then we are going to enable the Hyper-V replication for these two virtual machines, which is Win2K16 and Win2K19. So let's wait for it. So now applying computer settings. We are good. I'm going to hit Ctrl-Del and log in with the Hyper-V admin account. Now it's going to load the server manager and going to say Hyper-V installation is completed. So I'm going to open a tools and Hyper-V manager. You can see from here now, and you can see installation succeeded on this server, whatever role and feature we did. So this is good news. So now here you can see the Hyper-V manager. I'm going to right click. The first thing we need to assign a virtual switch. So I'm going to create external switch here, which was there on our primary server also on this machine. If you go here, HV01, you can see the virtual switch is there, vSwitch. So I'm going to create the same vSwitch on my replication partner, which is HV02. Apply. So since the virtual machine is associated with this vSwitch, so we need this vSwitch on replication partner as well. So this is good. And now I'm going to configure the hard disk path for virtual machine. So I'm going to click on here, and on the D drive I'm going to create one folder called HV data, and in this folder I'm going to create one folder virtual hard disks. So put this, and now I'm going to copy this path here and paste it here for the virtual disk, and for this I'm going to use only HV data, DHV data. So this is good. Click apply. So this is done, and now we are good to go ahead and enable the Hyper-V replication. So first I'm going to enable Hyper-V replication on my HV01. So right click and go to Hyper-V settings. From Hyper-V setting you can see here replication configuration. So if you go here, you can see we have enabled this replication. So let's enable this again. So this is enable this server as a replica server, and you can use the secure method like encrypted method to transfer the network data, and you can use also HTTPS, which is going to be not encrypted. So I'm going to use not encrypted, and replication partner authentication server. So you need to specify the default location for store replica files. So I'm going to save here on this hard disk file. So click apply, and it's going to you have to make sure you enable the inbound and outbound role for port 80 and this rule. So it's going to take care automatically if you are in domain environment. And let's do the same setting on our Hyper-V2, which is HV02. So I'm going on replication not enable as a replica server. So I'm going to enable this and put the use the Kerberos authentication, and I'm going to specify the authentication server and store the backup replica. So on a D drive virtual hard disk. So this is good. Now I'm going to click on apply. And now we have enabled the replica configuration on both the Hyper-V hosts, and we are good to go and configure the replica. So first thing, I'm going to enable the replica for Win2K16. So right button, and you can see here enable replication. So click on it, and then this is what the replication is. So going to click on next, and you have to specify the replica server. So my replica server is going to be Win2K19 HV02, and check. So this is good. And now one more thing, when you join this machine Hyper-V host in domain, you have to make sure you move the Hyper-V host in a correct place. So in our, we have moved it to HV02 in a server, so this is good. And now this is our replica server, so click next, and it's going to detect the setting what you have enabled in your replication configuration. So you can see it's going to be sent through the HTTP, and it's going to be your replica server and compass data over the network. So this is good. Click next, and now what it's going to be like replicate. So this is the hard drive, so replication could be named starting properly. So this is good. So this virtual machine is associated with a single hard drive. If you have a multiple hard drive, you will get this option to select unselect the hard drives which you don't want to replicate basically. So click next, and then choose the frequency, how much fast you want to replicate your primary and secondary server. So you can set it to 30 seconds, 5 minutes and 15 minutes. So I'm going to leave the default 5 minutes. Click next. So each on every 5 minutes it's going to send the traffic of replication server from host 1 to host 2. So the both virtual machine is going to be synced in interval of 5 minutes. So click next. And if you want to maintain the recovery point for virtual machine, I'm going to maintain some, you can say 10 recovery point, and click next. And this is something how you want to transfer the initial traffic of your virtual machine. So since this is a small virtual machine, the size is only 10 gig I guess. So you can see it's going to be around 10.7 gig. So if you have a large size of file or virtual machine, you can send it to external media also. You can copy it to external media and send it, and then you can sync both virtual machine. So this is the on the same network, so I'm going to use the copy over the network. And when you want to schedule, if you want to schedule in off business hours or some specific time, you can schedule it. So I'm going to start immediate. Click next. And this is what setting we have gone through and what we have chosen. So this is good, and now I'm going to click on finish. And now if you go to task manager, you can see the traffic is going from here. So you can see now it's sending around 300 plus MB. And if you go to second machine, you can see here the machine is created and receiving changes, and you can see the received traffic here as well. So you can see this machine is receiving data. So this is good. And same, let's enable the same setting for our second virtual machine, Win2K19. So click next, and the replica server Win2K HV02, and this is going to be port 80. So click next and choose the replication. So this is going to be a file Win2K19. Click next, and interval I'm going to select 5 minutes. Click next. And maintain recovery point, yes, I want to maintain 10 recovery points. Click next, and send over the network and start immediate. So click on finish. Now you can see the traffic is going to be much higher. So it's now sending 2 virtual machine at the same time to its replica partner, which is HV02. So you can see here traffic is coming, and both machine is receiving the data. So this is going to be take some time, since depending on the what is the traffic, what is the bandwidth of your network, and what is the size of your virtual machine which is getting transferred to another Hyper-V host. So I'm going to pause the recording. Once this transfer is come, I'm going to resume from there once again. So now you can see this machine is completed, Win2K16. And now if I go here, replication, we can see the view replication health, and you can see the status is normal, and primary server is going to be HV01 because this is our primary host, our source host, which is sending the traffic, and the secondary host is going to be our replica server, which is HV02. So this is good, and this is also done. So view the status. So this is also normal. So everything, both the virtual machine are in sync. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the planned failover first, and then we'll see how unplanned failover. So if I go ahead and plan failover, This is going to check the virtual machine is turned off or not, because if you are doing the a planned failover, you must have to shut down your primary virtual machine on a primary host. So if I do this, it's going to get the error, the planned failover is not going to work if your machine is not turned off. So I'm going to shut down this machine and then going to do the planned failover. So now you can see the virtual machine is getting shut down. So it's done. Now if I go replication and do the planned failover and make sure the virtual machine is shut down, and if I go here and you can see failover to replica server, and it's going to start the virtual machine there, and you can see the virtual machine has been restarted here. So this is something like your planned failover. If you are thinking about you require some maintenance or your primary host or primary site, you can do the planned failover and or run those machine on your secondary host. And what else, this is going to be boot soon, so you can see it's going to have a most recent update which was done for the from the replication partner from H1 to H2. So this is planned failover, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do some unplanned failover. So if I go here and do on a secondary host and do the failover, and it's going to give you the recovery points, but if I'm going to start this, it's not going to start, cannot failover virtual machine on the primary host, this is not turned off. So it's not going to failover because your primary host is on. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn off this host and then we are going to try. So this is, we did the planned failover for this virtual machine, and now I'm going to do some unplanned failover for this machine. You need to just assume like this server is got crashed, or this server having some hardware issue and you are not be able to boot it and it's went down automatically. And now in this condition, your the machine which was running on that HV01 Win2K19 is no more available. So this is something which is unplanned, and now I'm going to right click and replication, and I'm going to do the failover and now this is going to see if the it's going to check for the virtual machine if it's available on its primary host or not. If it's not available, it's going to start here. So it's going to take some time to wait for the HV01 to respond. If it's not going to respond, then it's going to power on the virtual machine here, allow us to power on, otherwise it's not going to allow. So we have to wait for a few seconds here. Now you can see the machine has been started. It's waited for HV01 its replication partner to respond, but since the HV01 is not available, so it's going to start this virtual machine here. So this is good. We got both machine up and running by like one with the planned failover and one with the unplanned failover. So now if you go and see the view replication health, it's going to give you the error warning because the primary host is not available. So this is the thing, and if I go here, you can see view status for this machine also, so it's going to give warning. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to recover this HV01 again, and I'm going to do the planned failover again, reverse the failover to its parent machine. Or you can say the on a source virtual source Hyper-V host for both the virtual machines. So this is good, and now I'm going to hit Ctrl-Alt-Del, and I'm going to here log into this machine. So it's going to start soon, and I'm going to hide this errors because we have turned off this virtual physical machine HV0 host directly, so it's hard booted. So now if I go, so now on HV01 you can see both the virtual machine is in shutdown state, and now I'm going to do the reverse replication. So I'm going to do the reverse replication. So it's going to give you the option where you want to put this machine. So if you see here, this is replica partner is going to be this. So we don't want to like replicate on this machine, so it's always going to have this machine as a primary host. So if I go here and view health, you can see this is your primary host. So I'm going to cancel the failover. So cancel failover, and cancelling failover, you lost data, so it's going to find, it's going to replicate here. So I'm going to do yes, and now you can see this is going to be powered off. This machine is powered off and it's merging the snapshot. So this is going to be here. So now if I go here and do the say this, it's going to give you the normal state now on HV01, and let's see the state here also. So it's going to give you the normal state. So this is good. Now virtual machine is in healthy state on both machine. I'm going to do cancel failover, planned failover from HV01, and click yes, and replicating changes, and now we are good to power on this machine and as this host. So if I go now and view the replication health, you can see the machine is in good state, it's in running state, and the replication health is also good. So now if I go here, see, you can see the resume replication. So I'm going to resume from here, and the synchronization is done and merging the in progress. So this is done, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cancel failover here. So it's going to turn off, and if I go here and see the replication health, it's going to be normal as well. So now if I go here and see the status, so you can see resume replication. I'm going to do it replicate resynchronization now. So this is resynchronizing, and once the resynchronization is done, we are able to start this machine and view the health status also. So you can see they're critical because resuming after resynchronization complete. So it's going to resume the resume after the resynchronization complete. So it's going to take some time. We can see the network traffic as well in this resynchronization, if it's required to send any data and receive any data. So this is good. So you can see it's resynchronizing now. So it's 2% on HV02. Here it's going to be complete soon. So it's going to take some time and resynchronization. So now you can see the HV01 showing 3%, and HV02 is also saying 3%. So it's going to complete soon. So I'm going to pause the recording. Once resynchronization is completed, I'm going to resume, and we'll see how to recover this Win2K19 from in a healthy state and power on this machine. So now you can see synchronization is completed, and now if I right click and view the replication health, it's going to be normal and everything is in healthy state. So now we can go ahead and power on this machine here. So in this video we did planned failover, unplanned failover for and we have enabled and configured Hyper-V replication, and we have also resumed the virtual machine from replication partner to its source virtual source Hyper-V host. So this is all about this video, and thank you for watching, and please subscribe me for more videos. And if you have any query, any question related to this video, you can always post me on my given mail IDs. Thank you once again. Bye bye.